Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. Now, need to make a few amendments and retractions from the previous video, but one or two things, taking place over the last day or so. So it was only right that I do a quick video just to summarize my thoughts, see what we get out of it, and ultimately, leave your comments and kind of let me know how you feel about it as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. So we've had some new information come out over the last 24 hours. Not 100% sure of the exact numbers yet. Again, they probably won't be announced to us until towards the end of the week. However, based on Adeoladipo's latest video with projections for the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia pay-per-view, it looks like the event could have actually done over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Now, the reports I heard previously was between the realm of 600 to 700,000, and that was on Showtime pay-per-view. However, Ade has said that the Zone's numbers, they're tracking towards somewhere around the 450,000 region within the US and Canada. So on one hand, I've got to say a very big humble pie to me, because I didn't think it would do more than about 520, 530. I just didn't think the profiles were big enough of both guys, in terms of their bodies of work. But if that is the case, then bravo. It shows that, I guess, when you have two high profile stars going at it, it definitely can draw in a crossover crowd, influencer crowd, maybe even the casual fans. Again, we got to wait for the final numbers before we can fully, say, all right, cool, then this is where we're at. But I mean, if they've got back ends on those deals, then I'm sure both of them will be making a nice little tidy sum off of that. But what it also does kind of highlight is that for all the talk of, like, I guess the Zone as a platform or whatever being, an app that nobody watches or whatever, well, if there's 450,000 people that subscribed to the app for that particular show, or some of them are probably already going to be existing subscribers, right? But if you got 450,000 pay-per-view buyers or something along those lines, well, then you've at least got, 500,000 people on the platform that are actually invested in top quality stuff. Now, I'm assuming that's not going to be every single person that has the Zone in the US and Canada. It would make sense that there's a lot more people with the app than that, but those are the people that decided they was going to purchase, whether, some people doing like account sharing or whatever. So when you look at that, but then you say, all right, on the other side, the Showtime side of things, they're still predicting between sort of 600 and 700,000, maybe even more than 730, 740, 750 even. Then you say to yourself, okay, so without the DAZN part of things, you can't. I mean, well, here's the thing, like, is there a profit share on both sides, or are both of them just basically taking whatever money they earned is what they earned? So in that case, because the reason I say that, the reason I'm getting at that is because if Showtime obviously control the broadcast and they just send the feed to the Zone, and the Zone sort of the Zone customers just watch it that way, whereas the Zone didn't put in any production, but they get to keep the revenue from the subscribers that purchased on their side, then Showtime can't then go and say, well, it sold over 1 million pay-per-view buys, because they had nothing to do with the actual DAZN buys. People bought it through the Zone because that's where they wanted to purchase it. So Showtime could only then basically say, well, this pay-per-view did 700 or 720, 730. Or do they have a revenue share where they say to the Zone, well, we'll give you the feed and you give us 25 or 30% of the revenue that comes via the pay-per-view sales. I don't know how it works in this particular deal, but I mean, either way, look, it's impressive. It would just be interesting to know exactly how they'll market this pay-per-view in terms of the buy rate, because again, if not all of the buys came through the Showtime platform, I don't know if you can really count them as a win for yourself unless you directly made the money from the others, because it's not like it was in a different territory. It's all within the same territory with different sort of different broadcasters, I guess, putting on the same thing. Either way, I don't know, but it still kind of shows you a lot more though, as in who I guess brought the attention to this, because 450,000 people, chances are they would have been Ryan's side if they're his own people. They've seen Ryan fight several times before. I mean, if you're a Showtime subscriber, I doubt you're gonna purchase the DAZN stream, right? So you're gonna go to Showtime. But then also on the other flip side, you've got, again, Tank, who, as we know, usually does between 175 to 275 pay-per-view buys at a peak for his, and now all of a sudden potentially does 700,000. You've got to attribute at least 50% of that increase to Ryan, even if maybe some of the other casuals were more interested in Tank. So yeah, it just, like I said before, it'll be interesting to see what the numbers look like on the next show that either person does, to determine, okay, it's because you had a dance partner that people that wanted to see, or it's because this is the guy and without that person you can't do what you do. Or even that if that person, now that you've got a bigger audience aware of you based on how you've reacted and they like what you're doing, then maybe you get a nice little bump on top of that. So we'll see, because ultimately, let's remember, Deontay Wilder, after the Tyson Fury trilogy fight, that was 600k. The following one did what, 75,000 purchases. So like, there was clearly no bump in pay-per-view. It was a steep decline. So maybe it has to be about the dance partner now to get people's money. But I guess we'll find out in due course. But yes, based on the numbers on both sides, I have to say again, congratulations to both guys, and I'll be very interested to see what both do moving forward. So yesterday, Peter Fury done an interview with IFL TV. There was also a couple other interviews he done, but we'll stick on that one just for the main part, with regards to a comment he made on the potential fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, based on this whole potential Saudi Arabia thing that may be happening in December. I believe it was Razaban that done that one. Shout out to Raz. I spoke to him briefly yesterday. Cool guy. Probably one of the few guys I actually enjoy listening to on IFL. So yeah, if he does see this, big up. And on that, basically, Peter Fury has said, look, it's definitely a pick 'em fight between Tyson and Usyk, and that obviously the whole of Tyson's team will know exactly what kind of risk that Usyk would pose to him if they did have a fight. He favors Tyson over Wilder and Joshua. He even does favor him over Usyk just slightly, but he doesn't think it's an easy fight, and he doesn't think it's a fight that he just wins. He basically stated as much, that Usyk can beat Fury, and Fury really needs to be switched on, dialed on, and in prime condition for that fight. And it's obviously we know that there's, well, okay, we don't know exactly what kind of relationship there is between Peter and John and Tyson and Hughie, all of them at the moment, and I guess Tommy, if we're going to add him in there as well. But it's clear that there was some kind of disagreement between them a little while back. Maybe they've mended that now, maybe not, but Peter always seems to be the one that speaks honestly, openly, just sort of tells it like it is, doesn't have to do the blustering, doesn't just talk up his charges against everyone, and everyone else is a bum and no one else is good apart from who I'm training or who I believe in. He's just honest, like, look, if it's a hard fight, it's a hard fight. If it's a mismatch, it's a mismatch. And I gotta rate that, I respect that. I was actually going to have a chat with him and see if I could do an interview, but my time was a bit limited. So the next time I see him, I'll probably definitely get a few words, because he is a person that I actually respect his opinion. I respect when he says things. But yeah, I just want to kind of put it out there, like, look, it's nice that someone with the name Fury is not necessarily going to be biased when it comes to that situation and the risk that's posed, because obviously he even said, look, Usyk's not a small heavyweight either. He's like, it's so the whole narrative about the blown up middleweight, the blown up cruiserweight, he's like, yeah, that's all long, that's inaccurate. You know, he's a fully fledged heavyweight now. He's big enough, he's tall enough, he's got, you know, he's a wizard. He's a very, you know, a very dangerous customer. He's a very special fighter. That's what he said. So not that none of us knew that already, but it was just nice to sort of hear that and hear someone be realistic and say, look, yes, Tyson can win, and I would probably edge him, but he is by no means like the overwhelming favorite. It's very, very close between the two, and he could definitely be beaten by this guy. So yeah, take that how you want to take it. But yeah, I sort of enjoyed the insight of that. And again, big up to Razabam for the interview. And I guess speaking of yesterday, so yeah, I was at the announcement press conference for Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. 2. You know, what do they call it? Repeat or revenge? It was actually a very interesting press conference. It was very funny, very entertaining. And on the undercard of that, you also got Franchon Cruz Dazern versus Savannah Marshall for the undisputed super middleweight title in the women's division. And both of those press conferences to me were actually they were competitive. They had a little bit of spice in them, but they were both actually very respectful, especially compared to maybe the first, you know, Eubank and Smith press conference. I did a couple interviews while I was there. I was aiming to do a couple more, but a few people dipped out before I was able to get a chance. I know Liam Smith had to catch a train, so I couldn't get to chat to him before he left. Franchon Cruz Dazern, I was supposed to actually do a private interview with her away from where the media was. They had a room upstairs in the hotels that she said, yeah, come up, we'll do the interview up there. But I was actually doing an interview with Savannah Marshall at the time, and by the time I got up there, I think they had dipped out. I think she had a flight to catch, or they had somewhere they needed to be, so I missed the opportunity, but I will get it sooner or later. I like Franchon. She's a very pleasant, very humble young lady, but she knows how to talk with the spice. And even when she's talking spicy, it's still, you can still hear that there's respect there. It's not entitled like, you know, maybe some other people from similar geographical locations as herself, not mention any names. But yeah, overall, the press conference, like I said, it was a very interesting press conference. The energy was good energy in the room for the most part. There wasn't as many. I thought there might be a few extra, like more fighters there than there were, and some of the teams, but there wasn't a huge amount there. Saw a couple other people, got a bit of insight into when Caroline Dubois will potentially be back out, so I'm definitely looking forward to that one. But yeah, overall, look, in my opinion, like, I obviously thought that Eubank would be able to sort of control enough of the fight in the first one, you know, just being sort of more of a boxer puncher than Liam Smith. Clearly that wasn't the case, but I still have to, you know, like everyone else, have to wonder what the back-to-back weight cuts did, especially doing the hard cut in the first one to the second. Was that a factor? I guess now we'll find out, because the second fight is taking place. Also, I do like look, this could just be comedy, pure banter or whatever, but I like the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. said, look, I get paid millions of dollars, or you say millions of pounds, to, you know, get in the ring and take a beating if that's what's required. So I feel like I was robbed of the chance to see if I could come back from, you know, what had transpired. And I think that Liam Smith was robbed of the chance to, you know, finish me properly, or give me the beating that people wanted me to see. Like, they've paid their money to see me take a beating. If that's what I was going to get for the next few rounds, then so be it. I was prepared for that. I've been prepared for that. I'm a fighter. We have to prepare ourselves for punishment, and I would have enjoyed it. And even when you said, you know, I've never been put down in my career before, I've never been rocked, I've never been wobbled, and, you know, I liked it. Like I enjoyed it. It's a new experience, like, you know, something that's never happened to me before. So he's a character. Like, I'm not a big fan of Chris, but I enjoy when I hear him talk now. Before, there was almost like a level of entitlement in everything that he said or the way he came across with things, but now everything is almost just like it's like a parody of himself. It's just like a satire show, and it's entertaining. Like, there was guys in the crowd that was bending up when he said anything, sitting right next to me, and I think Liam Smith looked over, and obviously because I was kind of laughing as well at some stuff that Chris says, but I wasn't bellowing out. But I think he saw me and saw the others and thought I might have been part of them, hence maybe why he wasn't so keen to do the interview with me after the press conference. I don't know, but yeah, it's you know, and I don't even think there was members of Chris's team, because they kind of bounced afterwards. They did their thing, he did his thing. He only did 3 interviews that day. He did one with Sky Sports, he did one with the Boxer team, and then he did a private one with the IFL upstairs in one of the private rooms. And I know because I went up there asking about Franchon, to be told that she had left, and I see him coming out the bathroom. He's gone up to the room, so I've gone up there along with the guy from, I think it's Box Raw Media. And yeah, they was like, both of them like, no, there's only IFL that's doing the interview in here. So, you know, and then he's off. So yeah, we didn't get that one, but you know, it would have been interesting. I had a few questions, very interesting questions that I wanted to ask him specifically, but it's cool. I can catch him on another time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the rematch. Not necessarily who you think's gonna win, but are you intrigued in it? Do you think it goes any differently? Like, do you think it ends exactly the same way, same round, a few rounds more? Does it go the distance this time? Yeah, just whatever your kind of thoughts are. And also Franchon and Savannah Marshall as well, let us know. But I'm gonna leave it there. I gotta run, and I gotta go to the gym to train someone. I'm gonna train at the same time, so I'm gonna keep it moving. Thank you guys very much for watching. Again, like and subscribe, comment all your opinions down below, and I'll get back to you in due course. For right now, I'd go casual, out.